You guys, this is Ashley Campbell Daily Encouragement. I'm live on YouTube and Facebook today. So I'm going to go ahead and jump on the podcast today. We are going to be talking to you guys about how to establish your own personal values in the context of your life using my new book right here, you guys, Nuggets of Truth, Volume 1. I did put the link for it in the Facebook Live. YouTube, you guys can get it on Amazon. I will try to make sure it's in the description after this video is over. If you guys want to get your own copy of it so you can refer back to it once the video is over. So without further ado, okay, mic's on. We're ready to roll. I'm going to jump over here to podcast, hit record now. And today I just want to talk to you guys about how to establish your own personal values, why that's important. And, another conversation I want to get into too, hopefully maybe today, maybe Friday. I'm not sure yet, but let's go ahead and get this thing rolling. Oh, let me get my calendar out really quick, you guys. I hope you guys have had a really great week. I've been busy digging a trench to put in a water line. Me and my husband want to plant some fruit trees on our property, and we need water out there. And so I've been digging this line out. I'm almost done. I think I got like 20 feet left. So, yeah, I've been busy doing that and some other things, you guys. I'm hoping to share that news with you soon. Okay, so it's going to be June 7th. Anyway, enough of the small talk, right? You guys aren't here for that. Let's go ahead and jump into this thing. I hope you guys have a great week, and let's get this thing rolling. What is up, you wonderful, beautiful people of the world? This is Ashley Campbell, Daily Encouragement. By the time you guys hear this episode, check this out. It's going to be June 7th, 2023. You guys, time is rolling. It's flying by. But today I want to do something a little bit different. I want to walk you guys through the process of establishing your personal values today. It's featured in my book, Nuggets of Truth, Volume 1. I walk you guys through the process of that. That has definitely been a game changer for me. And, I seen a post the other day, and it was talking about how many people are not aware of their values. And I thought, this is so important. It's helped me tremendously. And I think if you guys walk yourself through the process, take some time to actually think about these things, it's going to give you a sense of stability and peace and understanding and insight in your life that you've never had. And it's going to help you in the decision-making process as you live this life. Okay. So anyway, let me just go ahead and jump into this thing. So, I forgot my notebook and I should have grabbed it. Actually, I have it right here. Never mind. We're good. Okay. So this morning I got up and I figured that I was going to share my answers to these questions with you guys. If you guys get this book, Nuggets of Truth, it's going to help you go through the process of establishing personal values. I encourage you to get it because it lists the values and tells you what they mean. All right. So I give you everything I possibly can. Like I went through this morning and I thought to myself, if I didn't know anything about values and I didn't understand this book definitely has helped me do that. So that's my goal for you guys, is to give you something really easy, practical that you can use and put into practice in your life. So let's go. This is an appendix in the back of the book. This is Appendix A. So establish your personal values. I'm just going to read this to you guys. Like I said, you guys can buy the book, and then I'm going to answer the questions. I'm going to give you guys my answers. And then I want you guys to also get your hands on this so you can walk yourself through the process. So establish your personal values. A very quick note on establishing your personal values. A value is what you hold as most important. It's your motivation for the attitudes and behaviors you choose to take. How many of you are aware of that? How many of you are aware of your motivations? It's easy to identify somebody's actions, right? You can see what they do and their behaviors, but that doesn't always mean that you know the motivations that are behind it. Do you even know your own motivations? As you uncover that, you guys, it's going to give you a lot of understanding as to why sometimes you do what you do. Okay. So let's move on. Have you identified your top 5? Think back on your childhood and what you didn't have. What did you need the most? What did you not get that you find yourself motivated to have now? Answer all these questions through all areas of your life: relationships, work, career, finances, health, mental, emotional, leisure, free time, daily responsibilities, and how you want to give back to the world. So there's 7 areas of life. Okay. You've got your relationships, work and career, your money, your health, your mental and emotional health, your leisure, free time, your routine responsibilities, as well as your contribution to the world. Those are the 7 areas. Those are the 7 areas of life that are relevant to you. And, one thing about daily encouragement, if you guys, I don't know if you see it on the podcast or whatever, but it says finding Jesus, establishing truth in the context of a life, right? Finding Jesus in the context of life, something like that. Finding Jesus in the context of reality. Anyway, the point is Jesus is truth. And you have to be able to take the truth of him and put it in every area of your life. What is the truth of your life? What is the truth of where it's at, right? Because did you guys know that God's plan is to bring you to the ideal reality that he has for all those 7 areas, right? But many of us are so detached from the fact that God is so involved in those 7 areas. We think God's out here somewhere, and we constantly separate our life all the time. But in order for you to really make progress and see God's hand in your life, you have to get familiar with these 7 areas, and you have to start using, these tools in your life, right? So you can, and then it's actually going to give you a greater sense of how near God is to you. Okay. So those are the 7 areas. Now, look at all these areas of your life and ask yourself, what is motivating you? So what is motivating you in your relationships, work, career, finances, health, mental, emotional, leisure time, daily responsibilities, giving back to the world? What is motivating you? You have to ask yourself that. And your motivations come from what you didn't get when you were growing up. I'm telling you right now, one thing that my book, Nuggets of Truth, is going to force you to do is come in contact with the soil of your life and the things that have impacted you as to why you think, why you do, what, and giving you that type of insight and understanding. Let me scoot this camera over a little bit. All right. It's really, 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 really important that you take time to study how the life you've come from has impacted you. Did you know that the environment you were raised in, the meanings you've attached, the things you've been through is forming your very perspectives you have right now? And did you know that the way you see things now is not always true? Because you're not always seeing, maybe you're looking at the situation through the context of an older lens that was built in that period of time, but now things have changed. That's why people have identity crisis, because the reality of what's going on doesn't match up with what they perceive. So they freak out, right? So anyway, I digress. So you need to look at those 7 areas of your life. You need to find out what is motivating you in those 7 areas. And then you need to ask yourself, what do you want and need? What would motivate you to get what you want and need? I'm trying to ask this in as many different ways as I can so you can start coming up with your own ideas from your life. Your values are the drivers or the motivations for how you conduct yourself in terms of what you pursue in your life. All right, so that's all your values are. When you know your values, it becomes much easier to make decisions because you understand the bigger picture as far as what is most important to you and the direction you seek to take in your life. They help you to understand what you desire to accomplish. So let me back it up a little bit. Your values are your motivators. Your motivators come from what you did not receive when you were growing up as a kid. So now you have to look back at your life and ask yourself, what were you lacking and what are you trying to get now? Okay? So I'm going to share with you guys from the soil of my own life the things I didn't get and what my motivations are. So here's my 7 areas. Relationships. What am I motivated to have? Connection, authenticity, responsibility, autonomy, dependability, humility, assertiveness. Okay? Those are important values to me. Those are the things I look for in relationships. Those are the things I value. Those are the things that I look for and that I did not get when I was growing up. I didn't have connection. There was no authenticity. My parents were not taking responsibility. There was no autonomy. I wasn't encouraged to make my own decisions for my life, right? My decisions were based upon them, so I would try to get some peace, right? That's codependency, but that's another conversation. Dependability. I need reliable people in my life. I've had too many unreliable people in my life, all right? Humility. Humility is everything to me. If you know your limitations, right? And 2 people are walking together that value the same thing, you guys can strengthen each other. All right. Assertiveness. I want people who are going to assert themselves and walk in their authority. I don't want people in my life who allow themselves to get walked on, because I'm not walking that way. Right. So as you understand these things, it's going to also help you gauge the types of people that you have in your life. That you ever wonder why sometimes you feel so dang drained? It's because you're hanging with people that are not in alignment with how you're trying to live. But if you're not aware of these things, you can't change what you're not aware of, right? So the whole point of me bringing this up is for you to understand the motivations in your life, what you need, what you want, and then start aligning your actions and behaviors with that. But you have to do some really deep work. You have to figure out what is motivating you. Are you even conscious of that? Do you even take time to think about that? If not, you'll never uncover this stuff and you're going to continue to be just as confused as everybody else is in the world. All right. Well, I'm here to clear it up so you're not confused anymore. So you have some strength in your life. Okay. So for me, what are my values with work, or career? I would say purpose, freedom, and fulfillment, right? That I get filled up by what I do. And that reminded me of that scripture was in John chapter 5, when Jesus told his disciples, he goes, I have food that you know not of, right? So I want my work in my life to be fulfilling, that it fills me up, okay? And has purpose. Finances, what do I want for that? Security and generosity. You guys, I didn't have any financial security growing up as a kid. Not at all. I told you guys, I had 2 alcoholic parents with my stepdad. He raised us. My mom, they were both alcoholics, living in a travel trailer. No, I didn't live. Yeah, I did live in a trailer with my mom, but we lived at campsites for a time. No stability. Okay, because I didn't have that growing up, I value security. I want to be financially free. Okay, and we gotta stop judging people who want that, because again, you can look at somebody's action behaviors, but if you don't understand their motivations behind it, you can blind yourself to people. All right. You can misjudge them. And you guys, who wants to be around a judgmental person? I don't. I don't want to be around people who constantly make assumptions of me. Right. But that happens a lot on social media. But we're not talking about social media life. We're talking about people that you deal with on a daily basis, that you come in contact with, the people you live with, the people you work with, who is your family, the reality that you live in on a daily basis. All right. This is where this really rubber meets the road. Okay. Health. What are your values in health? So for me, I value vitality, self-discipline, growth, right? Consistency. I want to be healthy and strong. You guys, I told you I've been doing strength training for like the last 5 years, taking care of myself. I was 245 pounds before I had baby number 6, and that was 7 years ago. All right. And so I finally took control of my health back in, 2016, and lost probably about 60 pounds and have kept it off for the last almost 6 years through consistency, eating right, and so these are things people got to think about. These are practical, right? But they affect your life. All right. What's the next one? Leisure and exploration, right? What do you want to do with your free time? For me, explore and take risks. I would love to be able to travel one day with my kids, and my husband, go places we've never gone before, okay. I never did that as a kid. Not at all. We didn't do anything like that. We didn't even have money for, basic necessities at times, let alone going places and stuff like that. Okay. Daily responsibilities. What do you value there? For me, I value consistency and self-discipline. I know that there's certain things I need to get done every day. And so I put my priorities into my routine, right? And if you guys ever want to know what my routine is, I'm going to do like a Q&A one day, and you guys can ask me all kinds of questions, all right? What's the other one? Mental and emotional health. That's another area of life. What do I want there? Vulnerability, peace, and autonomy. I want people to be honest with me and real, all right? And even with myself, within myself, right? I'm going to be honest with myself. I'm going to be vulnerable. I'm going to be humble, right? That's what helps me with my own mental health, being truthful. Okay, making my own decisions. And then the last thing is, your give back to community. For me, community, I love being around people. I want to be able to build community, right? Not just on social media, but I told you guys, me and my husband, we would just love to have our own like building outside of our house where we can meet up with people and invite people over. I'm not going to give out my personal address on social media to people. Heck to the no. But if I could have my own other location where, whatever we got going on, we can invite people. We can create community with where we're at. There's a lot of things I would like to be able to do. So creating community, fulfillment, right? That's part of my give back. Full by what I give, giving people vision, purpose, truth, unity, right? And that's the thing with unity, really quick. So in my book, as I walk you guys through the process of establishing your personal values, I give you the definitions of all these values. Okay. So that way, and at least you can put language to it. You might not even know what values are. You're like, I don't get it. All those words I just listed, those are values, right? Unity is a value. And when I say unity, I'm not talking about people being the same. That's not unity. That's conformity. Okay. Unity, the quality or state of not being multiple. Think about it like this. The human body is in unity in the sense that it's one goal is to survive, has the same purpose. How do we unify as the church? What is the purpose, right? For people to know Jesus Christ. That's it. That's what unifies the church. But we don't do it the same way. Just like the human body, your body, not every part does the same thing to keep it alive. There's unique and distinct parts. There's the brain, there's the heart, there's the muscles, there's the legs. It's all different parts, but they all connect together for one job. You had one job, right? And that's to keep your body alive. Same in the body of Christ. You want to know what your part is? Your part is to be able to uncover the grace of God in the context of your life. That's what makes you unique and different. And then you connect with other people who also have uncovered their grace. They know Jesus Christ. They're living out his words in their life. They're seeking him, right? You connect with those kinds of people. And then you guys encourage each other. You receive from them as they receive from you. You know your worth. You know your value. You know your value because you know what Christ has done in you. That's what gives you your value, right? And that's what gives you the authority to talk about the things that you can talk about in your life. What have you gone through? What can you look at the 7 areas of your life? Think of any kind of hole that God has pulled you out of. And can you unpack the process that God used to get you from point A to point B? If you can do that, that's your grace. That's the value that you carry to the body of Christ. All right. So that's kind of how unity works. There's one goal, one purpose, and everybody comes together, but they have their own unique part in it. Okay. So let's move on here. Let's go back to the beginning of this. So that's what you got to be able to do. Number 1, what are your motivators? How do you find your motivators? Well, what did you lack growing up as a kid? You might not want to go there. Well, then this ain't going to help you. This book and the stuff I talk about is for people who are really serious about moving forward. They're not afraid of pain. They're not in denial. This is for people who are serious about, Lord, help me to understand how my life has impacted me, because I want to grow and mature. I don't want to be stuck in certain mindsets and certain things. So if you're not ready for that, this ain't for you. But if you're ready to go there and actually start getting grace and love and understanding in those areas that you avoid, now you've really experienced what God came to give. It's tangible for you now. It's not just some out here in the distance somewhere. All right. So you got to look at your motivations in all 7 areas of your life and what did you need, right? Those are going to be the motivators. Those are going to be the, if you look underneath, ask yourself, why do you do what you do? And again, has it ever looked like your actions and behaviors were not in line with that? Well, that could be because you haven't given yourself time to understand that. What are you trying to accomplish? What do you value? So let's move on. Okay, the great thing about knowing your values is you can make a decision based on your values and not circumstances or the agenda of someone outside you. Here are a few questions you can ask yourself to help you identify yours. So here's some more questions you guys can ask yourself. When was a time in your life you had the most peace? What were you doing? Who was in your life? How did they conduct themselves? What experiences were you having? When was the time in your life you were most fulfilled? What were you doing? Who were you with? What experiences have you had that motivated your heart to make progress? What do you want the most in your life? What would you need to value to attain what you want the most in your life? That's a good question. What do you need to value to get what you want in life? Again, if you don't know what values are, you guys can look in this appendix and I give you a list of them. You can even look up a list of values on Google if you want to, right? A list of values, and you can start putting language to some of the motivations that you have in your heart and give yourself some understanding. All right. So, okay. How do you make decisions? Do they align with your highest priorities and internal motivations? Now, let's look at this from another perspective, through the lens of what offends you. When do you find yourself getting upset with someone or a situation? For example, if someone lies to you and you find yourself getting upset, you value honesty. Or if someone makes a decision for you that you didn't ask them to, you value autonomy. Which values have been transgressed by you or another person? That's another way to find out what you value, what offends you, what gets you upset, right? That will also help you uncover. But again, if you don't know what values are, if you're like this, I'm totally clueless, look it up. Get my book. It will help you understand these things. And then you can go back and actually answer these questions and it'll change your life. All right. So in the following pages, I conducted a list of personal values with their definitions to give you some understanding and more insight. Take some time to read through them, choose up to 10, and ask yourself what is most important to you as you read them. Write down the ones that stick out to you the most and then rate them on a scale from 1 to 10 to determine your top value. After going through this process, do you have a greater sense of what motivates you? Do you have more confidence in validating yourself since you understand what your true aims in life are? Okay, so that's going to be priority. So then I give you guys a list of values that you can choose from. Assertiveness, authenticity. I'm just going to skip through some really quick. Autonomy, belonging, being courageous, calmness, certainty, community, compassion, connection, consistency, contentment, diligence, discipline, humility, hope, love, self-worth, right? I could go on and on and on and on about this. But I just wanted you guys to, take a step back and ask yourself, what do you value? What's motivating you? That's really, really important. It's going to change your life if you get this information into your life, because you're going to have a level of understanding about yourself that you didn't have before. And that's really, you guys, I said it earlier on the page, confusion fuels mental illness, but reality is the cure. If you feel confused in your life, get some reality in your life. Figure out what the reality is. The biggest reality you have to face is, what are the biggest burdens that you're underneath right now? What areas of biggest stress? So this is why it's important. You look at the 7 areas, you figure out, okay, which area in my life right now is stressing me out the most, right? And you have to start pick that area and start figuring out, well, what do I need? What do I need in this area of my life to bring about the peace that I'm looking for? Is that not what y'all are looking for at the end of the day? Is peace not your greatest asset? Think about it. I was thinking about this the other day too. Somebody was making the point that if you were to have all the material things that you absolutely wanted, right, and then you got there, it's like the deeper things of, do you have peace no matter what, right? There's nothing wrong with wanting more things. I want more money. Absolutely. I want more money to do more things. The more money you have, the more you can do, right? But at the same time, it's like, okay, if I got that money, would I still have peace, right? So it's like making sure that you don't have any voids within you, right? But anyway, look, start with the biggest burden that you're having in your life right now and work on that and ask yourself these questions. What do you need? What did you not get while growing up? What do you need to get now? And what do you need to value to get what you need? Do you value what you expect from somebody else? Some women are might be like, well, I want connection and I want this or that. Well, are you being the person that you need to be to attract that into your life? We have to hold ourselves 100% responsible for the results we are having or not having in our life, period. So if you need certain things, you have to be able to put yourself in a position to give those things too. It goes hand in hand. And here's the thing. Some of you don't have people mature enough in your life that are even aware of any of this stuff I'm talking to you about. And then you find yourself frustrated. Well, that's because you weren't aware of it to begin with. Neither one of you were, right? So now you can have a conversation, especially if this is a marital relationship, right? And just get on the same page then, figure out where the tension is and what do you both need? What do you need? What do they need? What's lacking and what's motivating you? Maybe, and here's the other thing. If there is conflict, establishing what is motivating this conflict, because sometimes there can be issues in relationships, but nobody understands the things that are going on underneath of that. So you have to be willing to ask really tough questions. This is the reason people are stuck, is because they're not dealing with reality, right? Reality hurts sometimes, but this is why I talk about in my book, Next to Truth. You have to be able to bring out those painful areas in your life that you're running from, so you can experience God's love and grace in those areas, right? That's going to change your life. And then because you get healed from it by just getting exposed, right? It gets exposed and then you get free. And then you're like, wow. And then all of a sudden, as you get out from underneath all these burdens, then what happens is the life that's in you starts to come out. Your desires start to change, because you're not bound by the frustration and the stress anymore. And so it's important that if you really believe that Jesus Christ is going to take you to heaven, why don't you believe him to help you right now in these areas of your life that you're struggling in? Why are you not bringing the most fragile areas of your life to him that he's come to restore? That was the whole point of why he came. He will give you insight and understanding as to those burdens that you're carrying around. Those are the only things that are holding you back anyway. All right. So you guys, I hope this was helpful. I wanted to walk you guys through this process a little bit. The thing about this is I can't do this for you. I can ask you questions. I can try to provoke thoughts in your mind. But at the end of the day, you have to sit down And you have to answer these for yourself, because here's the thing. I don't know your life. I don't know your story. I don't know what you need. I don't know where you want to go and what you want to do with your life. I don't know what your goals are in the 7 areas of your life. I don't know what kind of relationships you want to have. I don't know what you want your money to look like. These are all things pertaining to you. I'm just trying to help you become aware of it so you can get, a little more grounded and established and actually start to get an aim so you can start working towards that. And then you're going to have a sense of progress, and then you're going to have peace. And then you're going to be like, wow, you know what? I'm for the first time in my life, I'm actually getting what I want, right? Because you're in alignment with the things that are motivating you and that are important to you. And then guess what? You can make decisions based on those values. That's the other thing I'll say. When you know what you value, and if you come up in a situation where you're like, I don't know what to do, you know what you can do? You can fall back on what you value depending on the context of that decision. Is it a relationship thing? Is it a career thing? You can look at your values, and then you can say, you know what? I value this over that. So then it will help you make even really big, harder decisions. So this stuff will change your life if you actually sit down and do the work. Okay. Again, I can't do the work for you. I can only give you tools. I can ask you questions, but this kind of stuff is for people who are proactive, people who are ready to make progress, people who are ready to move forward, right? People who actually want to see God's grace tangible in their life, and use it. People who are willing to be courageous enough to bring all those areas to their life, the good, the bad, the ugly, everything in them, bring it to the light of truth and ask God to give them some perspective, resources, tools. Did you know God will use all kinds of stuff, practical things, right? God's a practical God. Will give you practical wisdom, just like he did with Adam and Eve in the garden. When they were naked and they tried to literally fix their naked situation with a fig leaf, that's not very durable, right? So God gave them an animal skin, and so that's the practicality of God. He will give you practical wisdom so you can have a stronger life. You can move forward, right, into the things. And so here's a couple notes too. Discern your motives by asking what you're intending to do. What are you intending to do in your life? What do you want to do in those 7 areas? All right. And then what you intend to do reveals your motives. Your motives reveal your values. And everybody talks about all the time, God looks at the heart. He looks at the motives. He does. Are you looking at your motives? Do you even know what your motives are, right? Are you giving yourself permission to think about how your motives and your intentions play a part in the context of your life with these 7 areas that I talk about? So you guys, you really just got to get this book. Appendix A, do the work, answer the questions. And if you feel confused, right? If more people get this book and you guys want to, ask me questions, we can. The problem is I don't have enough people that got the book. So if you guys get it, we can actually, maybe I can create a separate group for people who have the book, and then we can talk about it, and it has to only be for people who have the book. I'm not just going to let anybody in there, because then I'm telling you guys, sometimes even on my page now, you get so many people who are just so contentious. It's like, look, if you don't agree with what I'm talking about, I'm not saying you have to agree, but people who are constantly arguing and it's like, look, why don't you go start your own page and go create community with people who y'all think alike and whatever. That's fine. But it's like they come over to some people's pages and they just constantly it's like, that's all they do, right? It's like, you know what? Go find out what you're created to do and go share it with the world, and you go meet and connect with people. And that's, you guys, it's so important. It is so important to surround yourself with people who are on the same page as you. Again, why is that? If you value honesty and you're hanging around a bunch of liars, what do you think is going to happen? You're going to be really pissed. You're going to be super frustrated. And you know who that's going to fall back on? It'll be you, because you didn't discern their character. You didn't even discern what was important to you, and you didn't take responsibility for the people who are coming into your life. We're commanded. The Lord even says the thief comes to steal, kill, and destroy. Guard what's been entrusted to you, right? So guard your life. Don't let people just come in and steal from you. Take responsibility. Don't be a victim, right? If you've got shady people in your life, that's your responsibility to set limits and say, you know what? I don't want to hang out with those kind of people anymore. I don't want to be around people who drain me all the time. I hear that a lot too. I'm so drained all the time. Guard your energy, right? Take responsibility for what you need. Maybe, you did what I did for a long time, where your value was based upon what you gave to other people and you just weren't awake to it, right? You weren't aware of it. And that's what I'm telling you. If you guys get my book, Nuggets of Truth, it's going to help you guys. This book, you're going to feel like, wow, you know what? I feel like Ashley, I can really relate to her. And it'll give you some freedom and space to realize, guess what? You're not the only one that's gone through stuff and has struggled with these things. The whole reason I wrote the book was maybe somebody can hear my story, hear these little insights. It's a 93-day devotional. So it's only like, maybe take 5 minutes of your life a day. For example, this one is guarding yourself against evil, right? God knows we need to protect ourselves. I'll read a highlight from it. This is day 37. So it says, instead of trying to deaden yourself to how you are feeling by just straight up avoiding how you feel, guilty as charged, y'all, ask God to help you confront the thoughts you are trying to avoid so you can be delivered from the burden of avoidance, right? So I'm trying to relate to people, but I'm also trying to give you guys the tools and the insights that God used in my life that's moved me forward, all right? So anyway, you guys, I got to get off here. It's already been 29 minutes, and I only got 30 minutes at a time. I hope this was a valuable podcast. It's a little bit different. This is why you guys need to get my book. There's a link for it in the comments. You can get it on Amazon. If you have read it and you did get it, please give me a rating. You guys, I really need help on social media with this, with the book to help promote it. So if this book has been helpful to you, let people know. Share with your friends, and your circles, that whoever you go to work with or talk to, let them know. All right. So you guys have a wonderful rest of the weekend. It's only Wednesday. I wish it was the weekend. You guys have a great rest of the week. And I will see you guys on Friday. Thank you guys for joining me. A new podcast just released today. You guys go check it out. Daily Encouragement with Ashley Campbell. It's on whatever podcast platform y'all use to stream podcasts. So I'm going to get off here, you guys. Thanks for joining me this morning, and I will see you on Friday.